Hi there, guys. So the new tweet from Square Enix North America, um, showing off the new deal that they're going to be putting out. I'm sure a lot of you guys have read it already. If not, basically they're doing what's called a falling price deal, which I've never seen before, but it's certainly an interesting way of giving us something different than what we want, I guess. I mean, a lot of us were hoping that they'd kind of continue the trend and do more 5 pull 3 orb mercies for the particular advertised banner deal, but I guess that isn't happening. So essentially, what it looks like is that illustrated Roxas there is sitting in the spot where illustrated Kari was sitting last time. Actually, let's pull that up real quick. Okay, so if you have a quick look at the previous banner, illustrated Kari was the merciable medal, and Jonas actually sitting on the right hand side over here with illustrated Sora in the background, which unfortunately leads us to believe that yeah, if we look at this deal here, notice how Roxas is sitting in that spot and HD Namine is sitting in the background, meaning that it looks like if there's going to be any mercy whatsoever, it's going to be for illustrated Roxas, and HD Namine will just be the random, potentially pullable medal, which is a bit of a shame because that means I probably won't go hard on this deal, only because like HD. The guy's not messaged me in about 4 days, and of course, the second I press record. Anyway, yeah, if HD Nominate isn't guaranteed, and especially if she isn't guaranteed with orbs, I don't know why I would want to pull for her. She's a fantastic medal, of course, but it's a lot of jewels to be spending on an unorbed medal, and at this point of the game, medals are fantastic, but you really, really, really just need gilded damage. It's really getting to that point where the intensity of the enemies that we're facing up against means that you really, really need to have your strongest medals. And though Namine has that mirror copying effect, that's fantastic, but her biggest benefit comes from being able to gilt any medal that you have effectively. So you only really need to have one copy of any premium in the game, and if you have gilted Namine's, HD Namine sitting behind it, she basically mirrors that previous medal's effect and then applies her own guild bonus to that. So you could potentially be using a 150% guilted boost onto any medal that you have. Oh, sorry guys. So it's very, very strong. But again, that main benefit comes from the fact that she herself is guilted at a high level of guilt. Without that, she's certainly not as useful as she could be. Anyway, HD Roxas itself is a pretty interesting medal. It's an area of attack medal, I'm pretty sure. Let me just pull it up. Yes, it is. Tier 5 again, and what I believe it does is it raises your speed-based strength by 3 tiers for 1 turn. So you can think of it almost like our version of Maui and Moana, but only like the speed equivalent. He does cost 4 gauges though. Sorry, he did in the JP version. Which is pretty expensive. Pretty expensive for what he does. He's certainly not bad by any stretch of the imagination, and if you were to potentially get him with the Colosseum skill for this week, for this month, attack was 3 max plus SP gauge 2, whatever, that could be pretty powerful. Especially if you were, again, able to roll double attack on him. That's 6 gauges of speed-based strength right there. That's almost all you'll ever need. So that's potentially pretty powerful. Do I think he's worth mercy pulling? Okay, if this was a regular week and it's like, okay, 15,000 jewels for 1 copy of him, absolutely not. If it was 15,000 jewels for 1 3-orbs copy of him, with a high chance of getting a 3-orbed HD Nominee along the way, yeah. Again, you'd have to be pretty sure of getting that HD Nominee. But the fact that it's a falling price deal, meaning that save up to 1,100 jewels per draw. Okay, what does that mean? That means that the max discount is from the 5th draw. That's what it says right there. Meaning that your 5th and final pull, before I guess it resets back to being the minimum amount of discount, is 3,900 jewels for the last one. So, random shot in the dark. Let's say the very first pull. What would they likely do? Maybe they do 100 off for the first pull, then 3, then 5, then 7, then... No, that wouldn't be enough. Let's say they do 300 joules off for the first pull, then 500, then 700, then 900, then 1100. So each pull becomes 200 cheaper, maybe? Does that make sense? Or maybe they'd be significantly cheaper than that, I don't know. But if we run off that basic assumption there, that the initial pull is 300 joules off, and then the second is 500, then the third is 700, then the fourth is 900, and then finally the fifth is 1100 joules off. 2,000, 3,000, 3,500, is that right? Hang on. Let me just do the quick mental math in my head real quick. Yeah, if just what I've said, completely guessing right now is true, then that would save approximately 3,500 joules, I believe. Yeah, so what I'm saying is, if each draw saved you 200 more joules, then starting at 300, so 300, then 500, 800, then 700, 15, then 900, 24, and then finally 1100 for 3,500 saved, then a 15,000 5-pull draw would only cost you, 11,500. So if you were guaranteed one of those medals in that time, if it was orbed, that'd be pretty worth it. That'd be pretty good. Like if you had a good chance of getting H.D. Naminé along the way, that'd be pretty good, because you can mirror her up. You know, if you only got one copy of H.D. Naminé and she came orbed, you could potentially mirror that up and have a pretty strong gilted medal. If they don't come orbed though, then I'm struggling to see what the point would be. Obviously those two medals, and we'll get to Ventus in a second, but obviously those two are going to be used for the high score challenge, which I believe that medal lowers power-based defense. Lowers defense. Is it power-based defense or defense? Let me look it up. Okay, yeah, so lowers target's general defense by 2 tiers from 1 turn. It does more damage in the 3rd slot, and it's a power medal, so it'd be good in your treasure trove, it'd be good in your not Olympia, because that's a speed in the 3rd slot. It'd be good in Fenrir, obviously, and the other power-based keyblades. So, yeah, an interesting kind of medal. So it was a tier 4 in the JP version, but they likely buffed that up to a tier 5 for us. And so yeah, to get that we probably have to pull in the other deals. So let's talk about this third one here. The Ventus and Magic Broom deal. So that's really interesting. I'm really wondering why they chose Ventus of all medals to be the one that kind of promotes pulling in this banner. But it might honestly be because he isn't that great. So he's a tier 4 single target medal with a really powerful multiplier slot. Multiplier. Unboosted, entirely unboosted, he's a 3.50 medal, and so gilded, that actually comes out quite strong. So here's the thing, if you want to do a pull on this banner, you get a guaranteed illustrated Ventus and 1 guaranteed broom. And again, you only need 5 brooms to gild a medal, so 5 pulls of that, you'd have 5 illustrated Ventuses ready to go. You'd have 5 brooms, meaning you had 1 more Mickey and broom. You'd have, 4 trait rolls on that Ventus, so you could potentially get double attack, you could potentially get additional strength, whatever. So it's interesting, because they've chosen to let off with a medal that isn't that great. So what Ventus does, again, a high multiplier single target attack, and it also lowers the target's speed-based defense by 1 turn. So it doesn't lower all targets' speed-based defense, just the single target that you're hitting. So if you're dealing with, strong magic bosses, it's a pretty good medal. I guess those magic Proud Plus quests, it's pretty good. Just in general for Proud mode, we have a kind of a shortage on single target attacking medals. So in that regard, he's not bad. But I'm assuming it's going to be 3,000 joules, and that's a lot for a premium that's frankly outdated, and for brooms that, unless you have 5 of them, are worthless. I mean, obviously they add up over time, but until you get the 5th one, the 4 that you have, you literally can't use them. So yeah, it's tricky. I don't know, it's a little bit underhanded, because people are going to, from our good friend Square Enix, people are going to be like, oh, I really, really want this banner, because I want to try these brooms out. But again, that's a 15,000 joule investment to get one Mickey and Broom, and again a nearly gilted premium medal, that's not bad, but you also get a bunch of crap along with it. Like again, there's those 9 5-star medals, which could have a chance of being premiums. Probably not a high chance, but they could have a chance of being premiums. Oh boy, yeah, it's tricky, and obviously we got more Union Cross stuff coming out. Yeah, whatever, but yeah. So if you look at the high score challenge, you could assume that. I mean, we're given that HD Roxas and HD Ventus as our pullable medals, meaning that would you assume that it's a magic based challenge? I think you'd assume that like the enemies you'd face would be magic based, right? Because I mean, we're given a lot of speed, and magic as our banner medals, so they'll be the ones to provide the highest amount of score. So I don't think you'd be crazy to assume that they'd be a lot of strong magical enemies in this challenge, but I could be wrong. I have no idea. It could be another one where it's like a variety of enemies of all different colors. Yeah, I have no idea. Oh boy. Anyway, just some quick thoughts on this banner. We'll see in an hour and a half what it's actually going to be. It's interesting. I'm just kind of hypothesizing on what those discounts, or what the total discount of pulling 5 times would be. It's a real shame that HD nominates not the Mercy, because I think a lot of people would have gone for her if she was. As it stands, I'm probably just going to save my jewels. If she's not orbed, I'm saving him. There's no point pulling if she's not orbed, because we'll get easier ways of getting her later. Far easier ways of getting her later. In other news, I totally called it about there being tier 6 medals in the game, and I specifically called out that medal right there looks like a tier 6. I think I said that looks like it's above tier 5, and what do you know? I got it right. Anyway, guys, I'll see you in a few hours to actually talk about the deal as we know it properly, but until then, I'll talk to you soon. All the best, guys. Bye.